Elisha uses something new. He's telling the guy, pick it up for yourself. I'm glad that we're not left with a prodigal kind of story where the father tells the son, this is what's going on. We never know what the son did to the prodigal, the elder son. We don't know if he went into the house or not. It doesn't tell us. This one tells us this guy, Elisha said, pick it up for yourself. And he does. He gets a hold of it. And now he's got something that's his. It's not borrowed anymore. Now it's his. You've actually got it for yourself. He's not going to work with a mindset that encourages, we talked about the foolish virgins. He's not going to work with a mindset that won't go buy oil for themselves. He's not going to work with a mindset that are lamps without oil. He's not going to work with a mindset. I don't know how you process that Acts 3 when Peter and John are going to the temple and there's the crippled guy at the gate, beautiful and everything, and he wants money. And they say, silver and gold I don't have, but what I do have I'll give to you. That whole story. If you think about it, even if they had silver and gold, I don't think they would have given it to him. I think if they had their 2 pouches, they would have said, you know what? All this is going to do is facilitate you begging every day. I'm encouraging you now. Here's some money. Stay a beggar. Because they knew that every person on this planet, God has a much greater purpose for them. You can't be much of an expression of grace when you're standing there, or not even standing there, when you're kneeling. So I don't have silver and gold. By the way, even if I had some, I wouldn't give it to you. I'm going to give you something else so you can enter into the thing. You can have the breakthrough in your life that you need. And it's not sitting here begging every day. Pick it up for yourself. I am not going to pick that. I will cause it to rise. I will give you what I have. I will throw into it what I can throw into it. But you're going to have to, at that point, you're going to have to deal with it. Here you go. The Lord wants to deliver us by grace so that we can deliver that grace to other people, to demonstrate it. And I want to add this, that, people have this thing about becoming more like God. I want to challenge you in this kind of what we're talking about, like right now. I'm not saying that when we operate under the anointing or in the anointing, whatever words you want to use, and water changes to wine, whatever, that isn't divine. What I would say is this: while we're thinking about becoming more divine, God's thinking about us becoming more human. All of our shortcomings as human beings, because of sin or whatever it might be, the things we've been taught that are not true, a variety of different things. When we see these different things that God does with us, the revelation is not just of how great He is, but the revelation is also how great humans are, which is why I absolutely detest this teaching about being slimy, scummy little sinners that don't deserve anything and all. It really drives me nuts, because we're made in His image and likeness, and as far as I'm concerned, that hasn't changed. And what He's trying to show us is the truth of that. And we can balance that thing out. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm in pain, and so are other people around me. And so we can bear each other's burdens. How the heck do you bear a burden if somebody doesn't have one? We never look at those kinds of things that way. Are they by God's design? Depends on how you look at that. Yeah, God can do anything at any moment. So there must be something in there of God to get a hold of. Participating with Him. We've referred to changing water to wine a few times. And you know that story in John 2. We sorted it out, I think, last week, that the question is not as it appears in the English at all. The Greek doesn't even imply that, but the Greek is so weird that it's hard to put English words to the Greek statement. What does your concern have to do with me, kind of thing? It's not at all what it says. It operates from a point of Jesus identifying with His mother. It's we. We and what? And that's really all He's saying. We, you and me, not separated but together. We, what? That's all He has to say when she says they've run out of wine. So what does that mean for us? And she turns to the servants and says, do whatever He says. Pick it up for yourself. That's really what she's saying. You do whatever He says, because He's about to involve you in the miracle. If we think that Jesus couldn't just have gone hocus pocus, dominocus, and filled everything with water and wine and told the actual water pots, now you go hot. I mean, if he can cause stones to cry out, he can certainly tell them to walk into the feast over there and pour yourself out. He could have done anything. I mean, if he really wanted to draw attention, seriously, if he really wanted to draw attention to the miraculous, he does something absolutely wonderful. He turns to the people around him, based on the fact, what does that have to do with us? Do what he says. Watch what happens when you do what you can do and he does what he can do. He will raise the axe head, but you've got to carry it into the other room. You've got to carry the wine. And this last week was the first week that I actually thought about the servants, as far as he tells them to fill the water pots with water. Well, Steve Cerone can do that. Then he says, draw some out now and take it to the master of the feast. Now my imagination is going. When they draw some out, is it still water or is it wine yet? We're not told. It just says draw some out. And I was thinking, can you picture these servants drawing some out and it's water and they've run out of wine, if it's still water, and being told, and take it into the feast? Seriously. I don't know if you've checked my social status yet, but I am a servant. And I want to stay a servant. Thank you very much. I start bringing water into the master of the feast when they've run out of wine. It's not going to be a good day. It's just not going to be good at all. But we don't know. We don't know that. All we know is they were given a process. You can do this. You can fill a water pot. You can do this. You can draw some out. You can do this. You can take it into that guy over there. Pick it up for yourself. You can do that. I'll change it to wine. When he says that to Mary, what us? She says, I know what that means. Do whatever he says yourself. It's an invitation to participation. Pick it up for yourself is not mean. It's an invitation. Do you want to participate with God in this? Raise your hand over the Red Sea. Seriously. I asked you before, what did you have in your hand? You threw it down. I gave you something greater than what you had before. I gave you a life that if it's operated in faith and obedience, when I tell you to do something, when I give you the word, if you do what I say, when I say to do it, you will see waters part. You will see waters go from bitter to sweet. Anybody in here know anybody who's bitter? We must. We live on earth. There's bitter people all around us from a variety of different things. Some very dear to us. Or you can have people around you who are willing to throw something into your life, into the waters, to make the bitter sweet. It wasn't like Mara. Here, I'll throw a tree in. Everybody have a drink now. It's wonderful. Sometimes it takes a long time. See, Elisha, I don't know if you've thought about it or how well you really have read or whatever. I don't know what you know. But it's kind of interesting. When you read 2 Kings, Elisha's always throwing something into something. In the second chapter, it was a similar situation. They had water that they couldn't drink. Give me some salt. He takes the salt, he throws it in and says, we're all set. Thank you very much. In the 4th chapter, remember when there's death in the pot? That story? They go out and they just grab whatever they can, throw it in the pot, think you can eat it. Bring me some flour. But we've only got a little bit left. Gehazi, I know that spirit. What's in it for me? I want to keep the flour for myself. No, it doesn't work that way. He takes the flour, he throws it into the pot, and everybody eats, and we're all set. Now he's got an axe head down at the bottom of a river. Takes a stick through. He's always throwing something in. I like that picture, because I know that anything that is going to amount to anything coming out of Steve Cerone's life, I'm going to have to throw something in and throw something out. That's just, I'm 65, I know how this thing works. You have got to be able to know what to throw in and what to throw out. Elisha's a great example of someone who knows what to throw in when it's time to throw something in, and when to throw out what is not helpful. Why did you borrow that? Criticism, judgment, anger, things that don't produce it. You better throw it out, because when you throw it in, what you throw in is what comes back out again. You throw anger into it, they've said, parents, we've parented. Discipline a kid with anger. If you impart anger, don't be surprised when you raise an angry child. Where'd you get that anger from? Hello? To be excellent, we need to throw something into it to make an impact. Pick it up for yourself. It's a really nice way of saying you need an experience of grace to be able to demonstrate it and deliver it. If you don't know the grace of God, if you've never had that experience, then you're not going to be able to demonstrate it. If it's not your experience, pick it up for yourself. If it's not your experience, how are you going to show forth the excellence of Him when you haven't had any kind of an experience of His excellence? But then, like we said, once you have, we either walk away with a Gehazi mentality, what's in it for me, a borrower mentality that says I'm willing to do this occasionally, but not on an ongoing basis, just occasionally. Or you get to the place where you occupy. You're the builder, and you not only build, but you occupy the space that you've expanded to. You have an experience of excellence that you're bringing into situations. I think we go forth in faith, faith simply meaning that we have an expectation. Every person we pray for, every situation we walk into, we have an expectation of God wanting to do something and involving us. Draw some out now. Not next week, now. Draw some out now. It's a now thing. It's always a now thing. Draw some out now and do that. Experience with expectation. Delivered by grace to demonstrate grace. Expect bitterness to be transformed to something sweet. Expect the waters to part because God says, lift your hand. I want to involve you in this demonstration of grace and this expression of God. I want to involve you. So we do, with an expectation of the waters to part, the waters to be changed to wine. These are all exceptional things.